Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, brought to you by our friends over at Briar-Greaves Insurance. Protecting your assets starts with a company that you can count on. So whether it's auto, homeowners, flood, boaters, or business insurance, there's nobody better in the business to work with than the great people at Briar-Greaves Insurance. For more information about them, give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166. It's a Monday edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. The Bucs are out of the bye, and we are starting the week off with a bang, so let's get right into it. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at pewterreport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. And our guest this afternoon is a Bucs Ring of Honor member that is the first Super Bowl winning head coach in team history. You can find him on various shows on Barstool Sports and Wake Up Barstool on FS1, and he has an awesome YouTube channel breaking down the game of football. Joining the show is legendary Bucs Super Bowl winning head coach Jon Gruden. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. How's everything going this afternoon?
Great. Thanks for having me, Matt. Good to see you again, Scott. I'm anxious to hear about the Buccaneers.
We want to get your thoughts on the Buccaneers, so I think we're going to kick things off, Matt.
That's right. So the Bucs are off to their best start in team history with a 6-2 record. Your Super Bowl team in 2002 also started off at 6-2, as did the 2021 Bucs and the 1979 team. Coach, what are your thoughts on the 2025 Buccaneers so far?
Well, it's just been a great testament of the depth of this roster, their mental toughness. They've overcome a lot of injuries. I don't think the common fan really realizes how many key players that this team has lost. And it started in the opening season. Anybody that can take their starting center and move them to left tackle for 3 weeks. Right. Tell me who's done that. I mean, that's one of the most remarkable things I have seen. They've overcome the loss of all kind of receivers. Obviously, at running back, missing Bucky Irving, but they've continued to chug along. And defensively, they've had a lot of contributors on that side of the ball. Really excited about the young secondary. I think that's the most improved part of this Buccaneer team. But I'm anxious to see what Todd Bowles has in mind after the bye.
Speaking of Todd Bowles, Coach, when you and I spoke over the summer at the FFCA headquarters over there, I spoke to you about Baker Mayfield and about Todd Bowles. And you told me Baker Mayfield was a pain in the ass in a good way, and that Todd Bowles was a badass. Can you elaborate on that for our Pewter Report fans? You got a lot of admiration for those two.
Yeah, I do. I think Todd Bowles doesn't get the credit that he deserves. You know, he didn't have a great experience as the head coach of the Jets, and perhaps some people use that against him. I don't know, but this is a great competitor. He's a tremendous defensive coach, and he has a lot of guts to call things that most guys don't have the guts to call. He's really good at motivating his team, and every week he has something for you. He has a designer blitz for you. He's got a package of things that he hasn't shown. Very creative guy, and I think his players have a lot of respect for him, and adversity has become this team's best friend. They seem to really flourish in the tough times, and that's a credit to Todd Bowles and his staff.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like every single year there's some type of obstacle that they have to overcome, but time and time again, they are able to overcome it. You kind of answered it a little bit already, but what makes Todd's defenses so difficult? Is it the looks? Is it the disguises, or just the way that, he can really blitz from anywhere and get to the QB?
Yeah, I think Todd would admit, number one, they've got really good players. Jason Light has done a nice job assembling this roster. They've got a Hall of Fame linebacker. Levante David, I don't care if he makes the Pro Bowl or not. He's going into Canton unless we're stupid. I mean, this guy's production on an every down basis is amazing. His instincts and nose for the ball are incredible. And he's playing right behind arguably one of the top 2 or 3 defensive players in the history in this franchise. Vita Vea does things guys just don't do. He stuffs the middle. He can rush the passer, push the pocket. So they've got really good players in the middle of their defense. And then on the third level, they have Antoine Winfield. And he's healthy this year. If you look at what Winfield did the last time he was healthy for a full season, well, it earned him about a $100 million contract. So in the middle of this defense, they're very strong. And they don't have the 15-sack guy coming off the edge right now, but they do have some guys like Yaya Diaby, power rusher, creative Hassan Reddick. Then you got the big guy, Nelson, who can come in and impact the game. But it is the combination, I think, of good players, really good players, with a great scheme. And these guys can play 3 deep, 3 under, fire zone coverages. They can come after you with all kind of corner blitzes and perimeter heat. And they can play man-to-man. There's just so many different things you have to prepare for, and it's tough.
Yeah. John, you mentioned Jason Light just a few moments ago. You've gotten a chance to know him being over at One Buccaneer Place practices. You probably have had a beer or dinner with him. What are your thoughts on just how amazing of a job that he has done? And not just the drafts, right? But it's so hard to find a quarterback in this league, right? And when you think about Tom Brady being a free agent one time in his career, and he picks the Buccaneers, right? And then to go from that to Baker Mayfield, what does it say about the job that Jason Light has done building this roster to win a Super Bowl in 2020, but then building an almost a different one, it seems, with a key Super Bowl player here or there still on the roster, but maybe they're poised to win it again pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, being able to acquire talent is a real gift. And how to handle the salary cap, that's another gift. He's assembled a great group of people to work with him, scouts, people that work in the salary cap part of things. He's a mastermind. He loves it. He loves to compete. He's a great recruiter. And he's assembled such a good team. It attracts players like Tom Brady, Baker Mayfield, and they have a system of offense and defense where guys are looking at the tape and they're saying, hell, I wouldn't mind playing for these guys. And they live in Tampa, Florida. We got a great governor. We got a great fan base. We got a lot going here in Florida. It's just a great job from the top of the organization down to the coaching staff, into the locker room, and the players, I'm sure, really enjoy playing there.
There's no doubt about it. And going back to Baker Mayfield, he just seems like he'd be your type of quarterback. How much would you have enjoyed getting to coach Baker?
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'll be honest with you. I sometimes watch the Buccaneers. I go, that damn Mayfield. Like I said about Todd Bowles, you know, some guys love the pressure. They don't feel pressure. They apply pressure. I'm convinced Mayfield loves the end of game situations. He doesn't want to kick a field goal and trust the defense. He wants to put you away, man. And he has a playing style, I think, that really excites this team. I think guys get off the bench to watch him play, and I think they all want to play hard for their quarterback.
Yeah.
His creativity, he's got a little bit of Brett Favre in him and Rocky Balboa. That's kind of a cross of who he is, I think. And as long as we got Mayfield, we got a chance every week.
Yeah, when you look at one of the weapons that he has to work with this year, and really, it kind of caught everybody, myself, Matt Matera, pretty much everybody off guard that they went wide receiver in the first round. But thank God they did, right? I mean, with that unfortunate injury to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, not truly being back, and he's still out, right now. But when you look at Emeka Egbuka, he has been a saving grace for this team at the wide receiver position, helping Baker Mayfield, making those big plays. What are your thoughts on how prolific he has been so early in his career here in Tampa?
I can't say honestly that I'm as surprised as some people are, Scott, because I've been to Ohio State. I've seen him practice. I know about this guy's history. He's done things at Ohio State that nobody's ever done. His production speaks for itself. He's very mature. He can play multiple positions. He's not a young guy that just needs to play over here. He can go in motion. He can handle audibles. He's a great competitor. He's highly conditioned. What people didn't expect was that he would get this many opportunities to play right away because of Godwin and Mike Evans. But we're missing McMillan too, another young receiver who had 7 touchdowns last year down the stretch. Jason Light, again, deserves a lot of credit because Egbuka's a real deal. And if we can get Evans and Godwin back with McMillan, you better watch out for the Bucs.
Yeah, I just want to just pause right here for a second. I think Buccaneer fans love it when you say we, John, because, you've coached around this league, Green Bay, Philly, Oakland, Las Vegas. But when you say we, you mean the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, you're a part of history here. This is the 50th year of the franchise. You're in the Ring of Honor. You won the first Super Bowl. You still live in Tampa. Just what does it feel like to you? Because you do have some allegiances. You've got a lot of friends and contacts around the league, but this is your home team, right?
Well, I grew up in Tampa. My dad coached for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of people don't know that, but my dad worked for John McKay, the first head coach in Tampa Bay history. My dad became the personnel director. My dad was the guy that drafted Bo Jackson. Fortunately, we never signed him. And my dad was the guy that drafted Steve Young in the supplemental draft.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Bucs didn't want to keep him around either. But we have a lot of history with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I spent 7 great years here. I love living here. And we won 3 division titles with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun. And I still enjoy watching the pewter and red get out there and get after it.
All right, John, if you could pick one offensive player and one defensive player from this 2025 Buccaneer team that could play on any of your Buccaneer teams here during your 7 years in Tampa, which players would you pick?
Well, let's forget about Baker Mayfield because he'd be my first pick. But I think the left tackle might be one of my favorite guys, Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah.
I just think he's a legendary player. I don't know anybody that can be all pro at both positions.
Right.
I would love to have had Tristan Wirfs and just send the protection the other way and leave him on an island. And then defensively, that's a tough question, but we had Derek Brooks. I didn't think I'd ever see anybody that could compare to Brooks. But when I had Levante David in my office in the offseason, I had a chance to interview him.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have him and Brooks on the same team together. His playing style, his leadership, his passion to play, the chip on Levante David's shoulder it's off the chart. He wasn't big enough. He wasn't a high recruit. He went to junior college. Mm-hmm. He wasn't big enough to be a linebacker. You had to move him to safety. Baloney. This guy is a wrecking machine, man. And when he's on the field, great things happen. I just hope this bye week allowed him to get that body healthy for the stretch run because we're going to need him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible what he's still doing late in his career. And that was a fantastic interview you had with him. So I definitely recommend to all Bucs fans to check it out if you haven't yet. But, Coach, want to get your thoughts about Josh Grizzard, the offensive coordinator for the Bucs. It's his first year as a play caller. He has some similar concepts to what Liam Cohen was doing last season. But, there are a couple of twists and things like that. What do you make of the job that he's done so far?
I think he's done a really good job, and I think he gets a lot of credit, rightfully so, but I think you got to credit the whole offensive staff. Carberry, the offensive line coach, Skip Pete, the running back coach. I think it's McClendon, the receiver coach. They've all had a hand in sending players out there that are young, inexperienced, that have to play big snaps in big moments. But Grizzard he is a sharp guy. He comes from Yale, as you guys know. He's not a typical young guy like I was coming up, where I was nervous and upset, yelling all the time. I think he's got a great composure about him. He's been well trained. He was the ears and eyes up in the press box for Liam Cohen last year. He has a great ability to teach and listen, and I think he and Mayfield have hit the ground running. It seems like it's going extremely well. They had some bumps in the road against Detroit. I'm anxious to see the adjustments that they've made coming out of the bye.
John, when you look at the last 3 offensive coordinator hires, Dave Canales, Liam Cohen, and now Josh Grizzard, Canales and Cohen are head coaches, and they're doing well this year. Mm-hmm. And Grizzard has Baker Mayfield playing at an MVP level, despite all these injuries that you were talking about on the offense to start the season. Is Todd Bowles a kingmaker for hiring these guys, or is Baker Mayfield really the one who's helping them get these head coaching gigs, or is it both Baker and Bowles?
Well, I think you got to give both credit. I remember when we were in Green Bay, we had a young staff. It was Andy Reid, it was Mariucci, it was me. And all of a sudden, Brett Favre started pumping it in there, man. We started lighting people up, winning games. The next thing I know, all 3 of us got opportunities in the league. There's an old saying, if your quarterback plays great, there's going to be a lot of credit to go around, and all of us will benefit. But if your quarterback is struggling, we got no chance. Yeah. And I give Todd Bowles a lot of credit for hiring these coaches. You got to have the vision to hire these men, and you got to have the ability to let these guys implement their systems. I'm sure Todd is involved in the play calling, in the design of how we call games, but he deserves a tremendous amount of credit. But you also got to give Mayfield his credit because that dude is really good, man. He makes a lot of these plays dance.
Yeah.
That he is. Going back to kind of the overall history of the Bucs and your involvement with it. How's the experience going to that Bucs Jets game in Week 3 as they honored 50 years of the Bucs and they brought you and a ton of other coaches and players onto the field at halftime?
It was awesome. I can't thank the Glazers enough for doing that. Not a lot of teams do that, pay respect to the teams of yesteryear. But to be down on the field with some of the guys that helped us win our first Super Bowl, seeing guys that my dad coached, Doug Williams and Jimmy Giles, and a lot of other players that we have forgotten about, unfortunately. But to reunite with everybody and have a chance to run out on the field again was a great, great experience. And I think we all loved it.
Yeah, it looked like an absolute blast. And, you know, when we often think about your Super Bowl winning team with the 2002 team, obviously names like Sapp, Brooks, and Rice and Barber come up on defense, and Brad Johnson and Mike Allstott come up on offense. But I'm curious for you, who's someone from that Super Bowl winning team that maybe flies under the radar and should probably get more credit for what he brought to that team?
Well, that's a good question. I think the guys that you know on defense, the Shelton Quarles and Simeon Rice and Barber, those guys get a lot of credit, rightfully so. But that group got unleashed, I think, when we started scoring. When we were able to get a lead, a 2-possession lead, I think we were able to unlock the greatness in this defense because they could really disguise coverages, get after the quarterback, and they could make plays on the ball when it was in the air. But Roman Oben, who played left tackle for us, I don't think we win the Super Bowl without Roman Oben.
Yeah.
Joe Jurevicius, some of the double moves he ran, some of the plays that he made down the stretch. Keenan McCardle, if it wasn't for Keenan, I don't know what we would have done on third down or in the red zone. We had a lot of guys. Michael Pittman had over 100 yards in the Super Bowl, was a great receiving halfback and one of the best blitz pickup guys I've ever coached. So there's a lot of guys that contributed. Ricky Dudley, Ken Dilger. Yeah. We did not have a tight end when we came in here. We asked our tight ends to block the C gap. Yeah. We had 2 guys that could do it. We played an old-fashioned brand of offense. We'll probably be the last team in the history of football, Scott, to win a Super Bowl and not take 1 snap from the shotgun. Think about that.
That's incredible.
That's wild.
Games, not 1 snap from the shotgun.
Yeah.
And it's a credit to Brad Johnson most of all. You know, I saw us without Brad Johnson in the lineup. And I saw us with Brad Johnson in the lineup. And fortunately for the Bucs, we have not had to see what it's like without Mayfield either. But Brad Johnson, they call him the Bull for good reason. What a great competitor. What a tough guy he was. And he carried us in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I'm going to throw an honorable mention out there to Kerry Jenkins. I thought that guy was just tough as nails at guard for you.
Yeah, Bill Muir, who we had as the offensive line coach, offensive coordinator, was a Bill Parcells guy for many years.
Yeah.
He came in here, and we moved Kenyatta Walker from left tackle to right tackle. We signed Kerry Jenkins. We signed Roman Oben. We brought in 2 new tight ends, a new feature back, a bunch of new receivers, and it was hard. And it was ugly at times early. But when Brad Johnson got healthy, got a handle of the system, we realized we're pretty good. We had a really big back in Allstott who could close people out in short yardage and goal line. And it was a lot of fun, that's for sure. But this team we're seeing today with the Buccaneers, if we can get Bucky Irving back, there's a lot of great things that this team can do. I just can't wait to see him show it.
You know, John, I've always wanted to ask you as a Super Bowl winning head coach, and we had Bruce Arians on the podcast last week, and I asked him kind of the same thing. 2 different teams, 2 different times, 2 different sets of rules, right, in the NFL world, 2002, 2020. But I want to play a little bit of fantasy football with you if I could. I did the same thing with Bruce. It was pretty cool little exercise here. Just taking a look at the 2002 Buccaneer team in a fictional Madden-style matchup against the 2020 Buccaneers, right? If you look at your offense versus Todd Bowles' defense, right? I've got a couple of these matchups here I want you to comment on. You know, Jeff Christie was a hell of a center, but he was undersized. And going against Vita Vea, that might be tough sledding. Kenyatta Walker versus Shaq Barrett might be a little tough sledding too. But I like Mike Allstott hammering it in there against an undersized safety like Jordan Whitehead. And I love when you go to 11 personnel with Joe Jurevicius versus Sean Murphy Bunting. I think that's a real favorable matchup. John, it's almost impossible to kind of do a tit for tat here, but how do you think your offense would stack up against the Todd Bowles defense, and where would you attack it?
Well, Jeff Christie was undersized against everybody we played, Scott.
Yeah.
We played Sam Adams of the Raiders in the Super Bowl. He
That's
was
true.
undersized, but, he did it with technique and quickness. Yeah, that's a good question. That defense that you're looking at right there, Todd Bowles' coach, they shut down Pat Mahomes big time in the Super Bowl. They had a front four that could get after you. Jason Pierre-Paul was no joke either, even though he was towards the end of his career. Devin White could run. He made a play against us when I was coaching the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
He ran Derek Carr down on our sideline. I thought, good God, I did not know Devin White could run like that. I'm not going to ever shy away from our football team. We won 50 games. We went into the playoffs, and we busted up 3 pretty good teams, San Francisco, Philadelphia, my old team, the Raiders.
Yeah.
But we would have had a plan. We definitely would have probably played a lot more 11 personnel, gone a little no huddle to try to wear down Vita Vea. We want to try to get Vita Vea over there on the sidelines with Matt drinking Gatorade.
All right, now let's flip the script here, and let's look at that legendary Monty Kiffin defense, full of Hall of Famers, going up against Tom Brady, the best that would ever do it, right, at the quarterback position, and a legend over there at Mike Evans. Mike Evans and Dwight Smith. Dwight Smith had a hell of a Super Bowl for you, but we're talking about a Hall of Famer there. That might be something that kind of favors the 2020 team. Ali Marpet and Ryan Jensen. You didn't have Booger McFarland. It was the Buck and Chuck show at nose tackle. But boy, John, Aaron Stinney versus Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice versus Donovan Smith. I think you get some real pressure on Tom Brady. How do you think Monty's defense would have fared against that Bruce Arians, Tom Brady-led offense?
That defense right there, Scott, wouldn't have shied away from anybody. The bigger the stakes, the better the quarterback, the better the system, the better these guys played. I would have loved to have seen these guys go up against Tom Brady. I have great respect for him, obviously. Mike Evans, we probably would have rolled the coverage to Mike quite a bit.
Yeah.
But we had some guys now. Those guys are all wearing gold jackets. We're going to honor Simeon Rice here soon.
Yep.
But that defense was hard to beat, man, especially if we were able to get a lead.
Yeah.
That guy right there, Rondé Barber.
Yep.
Honest to God, that is probably as good a football player as I've ever been around. His instincts, when he put that helmet on, all you young players out there that are listening, there's certain guys that just love to play football, and Barber loved it, man. He was one of the best.
Yep.
It would definitely make for an all-time matchup.
Yeah,
so hopefully Madden can try to make that happen one way or another. But another thing I really want to know is, how intense were those practices back in the day with your Super Bowl winning team? Warren Sapp had previously said that you would talk trash to the defense, and you'd also play the role of Rich Gannon leading up into that Super Bowl game.
Well, I think that's the role that sometimes you have to have. This defense, they were the highest paid group in football too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
They had a lot of alpha personalities over there. They had a lot of success. The offense, it was well documented. It was a struggle to run the ball, throw the ball, and pass protect and score.
Yeah.
And we had to raise the standards. And we brought in some players now that were pretty good. We talked about a lot of them. Roman Oben started for the Giants. Vicious was a good player. McCardle was a go-to guy in Jacksonville. We had some players that we knew could compete. Mike Allstott, premier competitor. And we went out there every day knowing this. If we can move the ball and have success against our defense, we can do it against anybody. And I really wanted to see Derek Brooks and Warren and Lynch and everybody raise their level. And I knew they kind of didn't like me coming in here at the beginning anyways, because we beat the defense 45-0 when I was with the Raiders.
I remember that, yeah.
And I didn't bring that up except twice a day, every day. So it ticked them off, and they wanted to really stick it to me on the practice field. I think it made them better. I think it made us all better. And Mike Tomlin, I had so much fun coaching with Raheem and Tomlin and Joe Barry, Rod Marinelli. We had a great staff.
Yeah.
We talked trash to each other. The players, I think, kind of bonded closer and closer together. Yeah. And it was a great, great fun year, even though we were in that old woodshed over there, that old facility. There was no place to hide, man. You could hear everything that was being said through the walls. And there definitely was a lot of great original trash talk that was discovered in those times.
I remember your very first mini camp when the offense that you brought in. And listen, I don't think you get enough credit because you didn't bring any coaches over with you from Oakland, right? And you started with an entirely new offense. You didn't get hired till the middle of February. right? I mean, you're literally knocking on free agency's door. You got to learn this team, then figure out who you're going to get in free agency. Plus, you got to study for the draft, right? And teach all these coaches and teach all the players your offense. That was a huge undertaking without an entire offseason. I mean, again, a lot of times we see these coaches get hired first or second week of January. You were hired the middle of February. Having said that, I'll never forget John Lynch came off after the first mini camp that you guys had, and the offense whipped the Bucs defense. And John, I covered this team since 1995. This defense dominated every single practice. That's why the Bucs offense wasn't any good. That's why you got hired to be this team's coach. But he said, "Holy shit, they kicked our ass." And I mean, that to me was like a wake up call. When you got John Lynch walking off the field, shaking his head after your offense did that in the first mini camp, that really says something. But I want to get your take on a couple of Hall of Famers. Let's play a quick little word association game. I'm going to rattle off some guys' names. You tell me what comes to mind. Warren Sapp.
And disruptive. I think of the factor grade, all the things Warren did. Forget about the sacks and the stats. He caused a lot of penalties. He really did. He was a guy that we knew they were going to slide the protection to, so we could do some things the other way. I'll tell you this thing. Warren Sapp is as smart a football player as I've ever known. He knew the entire defense. He knew the run fits. He knew the coverages.
Yep.
And he was so fun to be around. He was
your fire starter at practice.
Talker I've ever heard. He even broke me down a few times. He made it really fun. Great competitor.
Yeah.
And you know what, Scott? He never missed a practice.
Yeah.
He never missed a practice.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I see now out there. A lot of guys miss games, miss practices. Yeah. Warren Sapp was there for us every day in the heat.
Yeah.
We were double teaming him. He loved the misery. He loved adversity. And the toughest times for us were his best moments.
Yeah. Derek Brooks.
Jeez. Just the premier leader on and off the field.
Yeah.
He didn't say much.
Yeah.
His pads and his play spoke for himself.
Yeah.
But the most complete linebacker I've ever seen. The only guy I've ever seen that could go one-on-one in the open air with Marshall Faulk, Michael Vick.
Yeah.
He had incredible play style. He could really run. He could change directions. He was effortless in his movement. Another guy that was completely durable, unselfish.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer on and off the field. You'd love Derek Brooks.
John Lynch.
He was the enforcer.
Yeah.
I don't know if John Lynch was being as effective today as he was back in those days, but we have an old saying, if it's wiggling, we're going to hit it. Yeah. And if you were one of those backs like Adrian Peterson or Jamal Lewis, and you were going to fight for that extra yard or two, you better keep your head on a swivel, man, because 47 was going to be looking for you. And he had great ball skills. You could put him deep. He had enough range to make plays on the ball. But he could wear you out and intimidate you in the middle of the field.
Rondé Barber.
He's a savage. Rondé's a savage. He's like one of those guys that's just, you don't want to mess with that guy.
Yeah.
He can power rush you for a little guy. Saw him hump move an offensive tackle for the Vikings. He had great instincts, great pressure player. He could play Randy Moss in the slot. He could go over here and cover Jimmy Smith of the Jaguars. He never had any fear at all.
Yeah.
And when he put that helmet on, the game was his best friend. He would tell me sometimes, I remember we're playing New Orleans, Scott, and we were going to kick a field goal to tie the game, send it into overtime. I changed my mind because Rondé said, have some guts, will you? Go for it. I listened to him a lot. I just love him still today.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
I was thinking about him. He was unbelievable. He was bad.
One more defensive player, Simeon Rice, who's going to be in the Bucs Ring of Honor, and as you just said, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Just really cool guy, man. I mean, really cool. He was the coolest guy on our team. He had more fun in life than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We would do everything possible just to get him a one-on-one in pass protection.
Right.
Could rush off the right side, the left side, a lot better run defender over the years, and tremendous effort. Yeah. And in this heat in the fourth quarter, I really think this, as you start watching all these teams play, do they have a fourth quarter pass rush?
Yeah.
Saw Micah Parsons the other day against Arizona close them out at the end.
That's right.
do the Buccaneers right now have the fourth quarter pass rush that can come and get you at closing time? Simeon Rice, a lot of his sacks, a lot of his greatest moments were in the fourth quarter. That guy could really close you out, man.
Yep. And then one more Bucs Ring of Honor member here on the offensive side, Mike Alstott.
Yeah, Mike Alstott. I call him the Anvil.
Yep.
You know, you see those anvils that break down buildings.
Yep.
You know, unselfish. Probably should have featured him a lot more than we did. He would have been a true I formation tailback. We were more of a split backfield set, but obviously a good lead back as a fullback, but with the ball in his hands, he is John Lynch mentality, man. He was an enforcer. He was a closer, a finisher. I remember it was 35-34. We're playing the Washington Redskins. We scored at the end, and Ron Spriggs jumped off sides.
Yep.
They put the ball at the 1 yard line because they moved it up. And I said, let's go for two. And we had a play called 14 blast. And the Redskins knew we were running 14 blast. The fans knew we were running 14 blast.
I knew it.
14 blast. And him and LeVar Arrington, I think, hit right in the hole. And Alstott won us that game.
Yep.
Just a tremendous closer and crunch time finisher.
Yeah. And scored the first touchdown in Bucs history in the Super Bowl, too. You gave it right to him.
On the same play, 14 blast, he ran right into Eric Barton. I still have that video. I look at it every once in a while when I want to get excited.
All right, one more offensive name, not in the Bucs Ring of Honor, but John, I'm going to give you the opportunity to put him in the Bucs Ring of Honor. Make your pitch for Brad Johnson, the Bull.
Well, he's the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl here.
Yeah.
And he put up with me. That ought to be good enough to get him a lifelong Hooters gift certificate or something. Still today, one of my very best friends, smart quarterback. He took some bullets. You know, things were going hard. He took some bullets on him. He didn't come out and criticize me or the system or have any excuses.
Yeah.
He played through pain, man.
Yeah.
I remember we're playing in Champaign, Illinois, playing the Chicago Bears. We need to get home field advantage. And Brad, he just couldn't go.
Yeah.
So we went with Rob Johnson. And
I remember that. Yeah.
We just kind of hung in there. We won 15-0.
Yep.
One of the ugliest games I've ever seen.
Yep. Martin Gramatica was the offense that day.
When Brad came back healthy, it was like the greatest thing in life. He put together a string of games that should give him every consideration to be up there in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And he is still today one of the great ambassadors for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that I know of.
Agreed.
You certainly got to coach a lot of great players, but you also have quite the legacy as a developer of other coaches as well with your coaching tree. Just a couple of names, your brother Jay, Mike Tomlin, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Bill and Brian Callahan, Gus Bradley, Rod Marinelli, and Raheem Morris, along with a couple of others. What are your thoughts on that part of your legacy, Coach, about, kind of building out this coaching tree?
Well, we had a great program that we were proud of. Monty Kiffin, Rich Bisaccia, really good special teams coach. We had a good group of guys that love football, love to compete. And I think that kind of permeated down into the other levels. I was a young guy at one time. Mike Holmgren, Bill Walsh, the 49ers system I learned really helped me fast track. Al Davis gave me a chance at a young age. And I wanted to try to give back and try to hire some young guys I thought that had a huge upside that could fast track and move on and have great success. And like we talked about earlier, if you win games, you win some championships, you win a Super Bowl, people come knocking on your door, and those guys have done a great job. It's a pleasure watching these guys deliver. And Mike Tomlin and McVay got big wins yesterday. Yeah.
Coach, after you were no longer the coach of the Buccaneers, this team kind of went through a decade of darkness, and maybe that had the Glazers rethinking things. Was there ever a time where the team maybe reached out to you or, and had some conversations about you possibly returning to coach the Buccaneers because you had the most success of anybody? Did that ever happen?
Well, we're not going to get into that, are we today, Scott? We've had some conversations over the years. I've always taken great pride in my relationship with the Glazers. And, they went through a lot of coaches. I think 6 or 7 coaches in the last 10 or 12 years. I'll say this, though. They got the right guy now.
Yeah.
And, they got the New England Patriots coming in here Sunday, a really red-hot football team, and I can't wait to see it.
I agree. How has it been working with Barstool, John? I mean, I love your content on there. Matt does, all the Buccaneer fans do, and being on FS1 and your YouTube channel is a must follow. You get to talk a lot of football, but you've also done golf videos, acting skits. You let your personality just take over social media. I mean, it's been an awesome revelation to see all sides of Jon Gruden, not just Coach Gruden. What has that been like for you? How much fun are you having? Because it looks like you're having a ball.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I am having fun. I don't really know what I'm doing, honestly, quite yet, but I got a great assistant here, Jake Malisak.
Yeah.
My son, Mike, is helping me. Dave Portnoy and the guys at the headquarters have given me an opportunity of a lifetime. There's a lot of really young, cool, sports, passionate people that are fun for me to hang around with. It keeps me young. But I try to stay in my wheelhouse. I got all the films here. Yep. I sit in here. I break down the games. We try to look at the 2 or 3 games that we want to break down on a weekly basis. We can't show video. I'm sure you guys are going through the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
People are like, hey, man, why can't you show us the plays? Well, you and I would be in the poorhouse if we did that.
That's right. We don't own the rights.
You don't own the rights.
Yeah.
So that's a little frustrating for me because you want to share some of your discoveries with the fans. So we do draw plays. We're coming up with some new creative ways to do it. We have this thing called the Gruden Glossary where we're trying to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun, and I try to stay in my lane. I try to stay true to football and keep trying to educate and promote the game because I still love it more than ever.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Barstool, so it's been so much fun seeing you mix it up with a lot of the different guys on different shows. And your pump-up speech in the Internet Invitational with the golf team, you know, the day after Luke Kwan overslept and everything like that. I mean, that's one of the biggest things on the Internet right now. Did that just kind of come out of nowhere for you to just come up with the speech, or is that just from history of being a head coach? You're just always ready for a speech.
Well, I was pretty nervous. I didn't really remember having a microphone on. It was kind of weird. You know, you're out there in the middle of the Ozarks playing in this golf tournament, and I'm playing with a lot of some of the top $1 million golfers out there. I mean, these guys are great players. We're playing for a lot of money. And anyways, Kwan, he didn't show up, and he's our lead guy. So there were some guys that were really upset. To be honest with you, I just wanted to have another iced tea and relax. I was having a good time. So go yell at this guy. Get this. Everybody was upset.
Yeah.
I tried to bring our team back together. It was like being in the locker room in the NFC Championship game in Philadelphia. Quit worrying about his problem. Worry about your problem. Put the ball in the hole. That was all instincts, and thank God it came off okay.
Yeah, it was great. Absolutely loved it. I think a lot of people loved it too. To bring it back to football, like you mentioned with your YouTube channel, you have some awesome stuff, whether it's Gruden's Glossary or the QB School. And I think a lot of people resonated with your video with Jackson Dart, where you're talking about how you're sick of the clap and you hate when the quarterbacks clap.
I hate it.
I'm just curious, like, if you look around the league right now, what quarterback has the best cadence? Who's your favorite cadence that a quarterback has right now?
It's a great question. Andrew Luck was my all-time favorite. I will say this about the clap. I saw Raheem Morris was all upset because the Patriots were clapping on defense, simulating your snap count.
Yeah.
So you might want to change it. But when it comes to who has the best snap count, Aaron Rodgers probably.
Sure.
You know, because he has the ability to get you to jump off sides. I mean, he got the ability to get you in the neutral zone and take some free snaps. And he has a lot of dummy words and code words, but you could tell he's got it down to a science.
Yeah, for sure. And then just looking at offenses in general, you covered the game. You've seen a lot of football. In the years that you've coached and been around the game, what's the biggest changes or adjustments that you've seen from the offensive side of the ball from, 10 to 15 years ago to what's going on in today's game?
Well, the collective bargaining agreement, the lack of practices, the game is I don't think it's evolving. I think it's dissolving.
Yeah.
You've seen snap counts turn into this. That's not an evolution. That's a reduction of time that we can spend. I see Friday night football, high school. I see the same offenses Saturday. I see the same offenses on Sunday now. There's a lot of RPOs. Quarterbacks are getting hit You saw Daniels go down again last night.
Yeah.
I just don't like the tight zone reads with these built-in bubble screens. Every quick screen you see complete, you should just kick the floor real hard. Just like I do. I want to see guys run patterns. I just think that the route trees are shrunken. You're seeing a lot of 11 personnel, a lot of up-tempo, tight zone reads with built-in perimeter RPOs. And that's not a play-action pass, just so we're all on the same page.
Right.
Exactly.
But the quarterback under the center, those days appear to be disappearing.
Yeah.
But I do see teams coming back to that and having great success. The Pittsburgh Steelers are slamming it at you.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions are slamming that ball. And I think now that Lamar Jackson's back with Derrick Henry, you'll see some of that. But I just think the open style, up-tempo offenses have taken over in a lot of people's mind.
Yeah. John, last question for you. Really appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you.
You had some absolute wars on the sidelines with officials. So did Bruce Arians. We just had him on, right? He was disgusted at the officiating, not just in that Bucs Saints game that robbed Antoine Winfield Jr. of not one but 2 touchdowns, an erroneous whistle with one, and it looked like a clean pick six to me. The guy wasn't touched when he ripped the ball away from Chris Olave, but he said the officiating is as worse as he's ever seen it in his years in football, and I agree. What are your thoughts on the officiating, John?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad Bruce said that. Because all I would do is nod my head and agree. I don't like it. I don't think we have a consistency when it comes to pass interference.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any idea what we're doing protecting the quarterback. Some of these personal fouls on quarterbacks they're not even close. They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I do think that people in the league office got to start thinking about what we're trying to do here. And I'm talking about Perry Fuel and George Stewart and Mark Collins, all these videos they send out to these officials.
Yeah.
These officials, they got to get on the same page. But protecting the quarterback is just way too excessive. We're giving guys speeding tickets for going 31 miles an hour in a 30. That's what it looks like to me. It's over officiated.
Yeah.
I know player safety is important, but it's getting to be a little bit hard to watch at times. And pass interference, honestly, you got to let these guys play a little bit.
I agree.
That's just my opinion.
Spot on.
Yeah. John, we have one question from a fan here real quick, and this is about your dad. He says, your dad ever talked much about the drafting of Leroy Selman? And John, what are your thoughts? I know you're a Buccaneer historian. You grew up in Tampa. Your dad coached for the team, as you said. He was the original Hall of Famer for this franchise, the original #1 pick that was the absolute hit. What are your thoughts on Leroy Selman and your dad's, memories of Leroy?
Well, Leroy was on the team when my dad was a coach. My dad didn't draft Leroy, but I knew Leroy well. He used to come by a lot when I was coaching the team. He was at USF as the AD. Doug Williams tells the greatest Leroy Selman story.
Yeah,
Doug would tell you, man, when I was playing quarterback, I would drop back to pass against the Bears, and they would hit me so hard. Doug took some of the biggest hits I've ever seen, and Doug would talk about that.
Yeah.
Then he said Leroy Selman, he would beat the Bears offensive tackle clean, and he could have killed Jim McMahon, but he took it down kind of gently. Right. And Doug would be on the sidelines going, come on, man, what the hell? Leroy was the greatest guy that any of us have ever met, and a great football player. He had great first step quickness.
Yeah.
What people don't know, though, Scott, he was not a great big guy. He was not a real big man.
Right.
He was a quite undersized pass rusher, but what a relentless badass Leroy Selman was, but one of the great, great guys of all time.
Yep. Well, John, I'm going to say the same thing about you. An absolute badass, one of the great, great coaches of all time, an absolute Buccaneer legend. #1 to ever do it, folks, right there. Jon Gruden, Super Bowl winning head coach, still to this day. Maybe Todd Bowles will catch it. We'll see. But still to this day, the all-time winningest coach in Bucs history. John, thank you so much for your time.
Anytime. Thank you, guys. Matt,
appreciate you, Coach. Thank you so much. Sunday. I think Dave Portnoy's coming in from Barstool, so I heard.
He's going to be rooting for the Patriots, so we got to get this one, man.
There you go.
That's
John,
right.
Appreciate your time. Thank you, Coach.
Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Super Bowl champion Jon Gruden.
All right.
I learned more football from that guy than any other coach that I've had the privilege of of covering, and that's no knock on any of their coaches, but the one thing that I think that Bucs fans don't quite understand is the access that was granted to the media under Jon Gruden. It was bar none. I mean, you could talk to any coach, any assistant coach coming off the field and just have a conversation. And you wouldn't be shooed off by a public relations member saying, we got to wrap it up or whatever. I remember talking to Mike Tomlin, Raheem Morris, Joe Barry, Art Valero for 15, 20 minutes after practices, just asking about football, about questions, about players, on the record, off the record, just an absolute cornucopia of wealth of football knowledge and the access he would give you at training camp. I remember just standing out there getting absolutely fried in the middle of Florida, over there at Celebration in Orlando, just watching training camp, being literally 5 yards away from a Monty Kiffin defensive install period, just going over everything. And Mike Tomlin and his defensive backs and Rondé Barber and Brian Kelly and John Lynch are there, just going over everything. Raheem is like learning from Mike at the time. Just absolutely awesome time. I mean, I love, covering Todd. He's phenomenal, but I mean, Matt, the access is not what it used to be. You weren't there for those days, but I'm telling you, man.
I've heard
crazy.
I've heard great stories from you about, covering that Bucs team with Coach Gruden. And I think the big thing, you even see it in this interview and a lot of his work on YouTube and on Barstool and everything like that. He is still just as passionate and fiery now as it seems like he was when he was coaching the Bucs or, coaching other teams and whatever the case may be. And, that's not to say that other coaches aren't intense or passionate either. Like Bruce Arians is very intense on the sidelines and things like that. But Bruce can also chill out, have a cigar, have a Crown Royal and stuff like that, where like you can flip the switch on and off. Coach Gruden, it just feels like he's all football, all high intensity, hard on his sleeve all the time. And I appreciate that so much. And it's very captivating when he speaks and he can just go into a story and then talk about the old times,
he
winning
just
a Super
sucks
Bowl
you right
Bucs,
in, man.
Then talk about the current team and bring it back to Todd Bowles, whatever the case may be. It's quite the illustration. He's painting a picture, and it's cool to see the art and the artist behind it for sure.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of pictures right behind me here, and these are autographed. That one right there, that's Jon Gruden, and I literally have maybe like 3 or 4 things that coach has signed for me. That was the first thing he signed. That was the Pewter Report's Super Bowl cover. And what it says is, to Scott, your stuff, Jon Gruden. And I mean,
pretty good.
I'm telling you right now, like that is the highest of high praise you could ever give a reporter when you have a coach telling me, your stuff. But the reason why I know the stuff is because I paid attention. I was sitting in the front row, soaking up everything he was saying from the podium, having some of those kind of like, in the coach's office conversations, learning about the game of football. Just a teacher. He taught the media about football. If you paid attention, he taught the media about football, just like he was teaching the players in doing an install. It was just awesome. It was a great time. My level of football just completely went to the next level with Jon.
Yeah.
We have a couple super chats to get to. We'll get those in just a second. A couple of important announcements. We got a game this week, folks. Bye week is over. And what I want to let you know is we had Bruce Arians on last week. If you didn't see that interview, fantastic interview too. Yeah. We have knocked it out of the park with these coaches. I mean, Matt, all we do is ask the questions. They're the stars of the show.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
we
Bruce Arians,
play it out.
Yeah, Bruce Arians was fantastic last week. So check out Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, for that video. This is the 4th head coach we've had this year. We have had Todd Bowles on. We have had Tony Dungy on. We have had Bruce Arians and now Jon Gruden. So I think the 4 best Bucs coaches we have had on the Pewter Report podcast, and it's been absolutely amazing. Also wanted to let you know, too, Josh Capo had a very good interview with Dalton Wasserman, the PFF grades discussion. That was a special edition taped podcast that we had that was on the website, or actually on Pewter Report TV on Friday. So if you didn't have a chance to check that out, it's a 30-minute interview where he discusses PFF grades with Josh and kind of what goes into that. A great interview, so check that out as well. But this week we've got a game on Sunday, and of course that means Bucs versus Patriots preview on Wednesday. That is our Wednesday podcast, and then Matt and Adam will talk about how the Bucs offense must get on track on Thursday. The Pewter Insider returns for our Pewter Premier and Platinum members. Can the Bucs defense stay hot after the bye? That's going to be on Friday. So we have a lot of great content coming up this week, Matt, on Pewter Report TV.
Yes, we do. It's exciting. The Bucs are back. They'll be practicing on Wednesday. We'll have more info about who's going to be in and who's going to be out. There was some news that broke like right before this podcast started about Luke Gedeke, which we can talk about in just a moment. But this is also a huge game for the Bucs. Like they're 6-2. The Patriots, I believe, are 6-2.
Yeah,
I can't call it a
7-2
because I think the Bucs are in that category. But I mean, we're talking about teams with the best records in football playing this Sunday. I can't wait for this matchup.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Luke Gedeke, the 21-day practice window has opened, which means that he is free and clear to return from injured reserve. If he practices this week, doesn't have any setbacks with that foot, as he takes the field, and Todd Bowles says, I want to see him out there. I got to see him doing something, right? So that's what Todd always says. If he practices well, he's going to be your starting right tackle when the Bucs take on the Patriots on Sunday, so keep your fingers crossed. And, of course, Wednesday we'll know more. When we go to One Buccaneer Place, we'll have injury updates about Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin. Y'all want to know if those guys are going to be back in action this week? We don't know. It's crickets over there at One Buccaneer Place because maybe they're mulling some trade opportunities for tomorrow. We'll have to see. The trade deadline is 4 p.m. tomorrow. And Matt, the folks over at Briargreaves Insurance, well, they've got a cool little fan promotion giveaway if you happen to make a call.
That's right. If you give Briargreaves Insurance a call, which you can call them at 813-876-4166. Again, that's 813-876-4166. And see how they can help you with your insurance needs, whether it's homeowners, auto, flood, boaters, or business insurance. All you got to do is give them a call, have a conversation with Briargreaves Insurance, and you will automatically be entered into a raffle to win tickets into the lower bowl section of Raymond James Stadium for the Bucs Falcons Thursday night football game, which is also a creamsicle game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So give Briargreaves Insurance a call, and you will automatically be entered into a raffle to win tickets to Bucs versus Falcons Thursday night football at Raymond James Stadium, the creamsicle game. So do yourself a favor and have a chance to win some Bucs tickets with one of the best teams in football.
Yeah, for sure. We are excited to see what the Buccaneers can do. The Detroit Lions did not look good in their return from action after the bye week, and they looked rusty. And Todd Bowles said that today to his team. They said, don't be like the Lions. We got to be on point. We got to be sharp. That was something Yaya Diaby conveyed to the media today in a conference call. So we're excited to see the players and the coaches again on Wednesday. Matt, we have a couple other super chats to get to. Let's take care of those right now, shall we?
Yes, we'll start with Paul, a.k.a. OG Baker Bro. Thank you for this $5 super chat. Says, the NFL and the Bucs are far better off with Coach Gruden being around. Exceptional person and unmatched passion for the game. Yeah. Thanks for being here today. Well, thank you for watching.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the kind words. And that was an extremely fun interview. Like halfway through, I was like, man, this is great. I could do this for 2 hours, to be honest with you. But obviously, we don't want to hold Coach hostage by any means, but
he's the best.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and it seems like everyone is already enjoying it, so that's cool.
We already said this super chat to John, but we wanted to thank Bucs fan since Leroy63 for the $5 super chat. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Sean Rainey, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says, thank you, Matt and Scott. Awesome content. Coach Gruden is legendary. Well, thank you for the kind words. I mean, that's why we're building out this channel and why we'd love for everyone to subscribe. Because we're doing this show for the best Bucs fans around, the Pewter people. And the bigger that we grow our audience, the more that we can get big-time guests like Bruce Arians, like Jon Gruden, and some other names and stuff like that. So, yeah, thank you very much for the kind words. It was a very fun interview. Bucs fan since Leroy63 with another super chat. Thank you very much. Says, more than anything, I think what Bowles wants is for the offense to keep his defense fresh.
Yeah, that's certainly good because there's been times where he gets a little crabby when the Bucs don't run the ball enough, because that means 3 and out sometimes when they try to throw the ball too much and Baker's not on point, like that Lions game, for example, or the Saints game where the offense wasn't exactly in sync. But yeah, if this team can run the ball and have some extended drives, it keeps that defense fresh. And if you need that fourth quarter pass rush, those guys aren't gassed. They got some gas in the tank, and maybe the defense comes up with an interception too, because the defensive backs are fresh. So that's complimentary football, and you're not going to find a defensive coordinator that is going to want to have a hurry up offense, like a tempo offense. They're going to want a balanced offensive attack that will run the ball enough to keep their defense fresh. Good observation.
And I do think the Bucs offense needs a bit of a bounce back game on Sunday, because they
For
certainly
sure.
are not happy with how they looked on Monday night against
Yeah.
Detroit 2 games ago. And they only scored 1 touchdown against the Saints. So there's a lot to clean up for that offensive side, but we'll see what tweaks and adjustments they made during the bye week.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned bounce back, and there's another team that needs to have a bounce back, and that's the USF Bulls. This is a big game. You got the USF Bulls versus the UTSA Roadrunners. They kicked the crap out of Tulane last Thursday. So another Thursday night game for UTSA, but this one's going to be in Tampa, and this is going to be this Thursday, November 6th at 7:30 p.m. The Bulls, already bowl eligible. How high can they go up in the rankings, and can they make it to the playoffs? They still have a chance to win their conference. Be there Thursday, November 6th, 7:30 p.m. at Raymond James Stadium. Scan that QR code to purchase tickets. I've already been to a Bulls game this year against FAU. They kicked ass. They took names. They might do the same thing against UTSA. This is a very good up-and-coming UTSA Roadrunner team, though, that is coming off that whipping of Tulane. So it's going to be a good game. I might be out there Thursday, and if you see me, let me know. But make sure you make it to Ray J. Bulls football is fun.
Yeah, it's been a good time following them all season long, and hopefully they can stay in the fight and get a college football postseason appearance. So that'd be sweet. And thank you to Sunshine and Lollipops Cat for this $10 super chat. Says content appreciation post. Well, thank you, Cat. We appreciate you. Appreciate the kind words.
Yeah.
And Drillman32, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says the way Drake London did Christian Gonzalez made me cry missing Mike Evans. You guys are on point with every midseason grade. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, we wrote some articles about it. We did a podcast about it too. Yeah, I watched a lot of that Falcons-Patriots game. We'll save a lot of this for Wednesday's show. But yeah, Drake London, 3 touchdowns, similar body type and playing style to Mike Evans.
And Gonzalez is no slouch either, former first-round pick,
Yeah, no, not by any means. But will be a very interesting matchup against the Patriots. We'll kind of save that for Wednesday's show. But yes, definitely took notice of Drake London having his way into the end zone several times in that game.
Yeah. No time today, obviously, with the guests. That's kind of what we do is when we have guests on Mondays, we don't do roll call. We'll do roll call next Monday. So hopefully it'll be a victory Monday, right? That would be the double whammy everybody wants.
Yes.
But what we do on Mondays, typically, unless there is a Monday night game, is we have our Bucs mailbag. And the Bucs mailbag is always sponsored by Immuni Financial.
Will your savings last through retirement? Most people plan for 10 years. A retirement can last 30. Healthcare, taxes, market swings, it all adds up. Take our quiz. Check your retirement readiness today. Immuni Financial.
Boy, I am in the mood to take that quiz for sure, because not that I'm going to retire anytime soon. Don't worry, folks. Don't worry. But I'm thinking about it. I got a plan for it. And if you want to know how much savings that you're going to have for your retirement, like I'm trying to figure that out, take the 2-minute quiz and then call the folks over at Immuni Financial. They will help you out. David and Mark and all of the gang over there, they're absolutely fantastic, knowledgeable people. They've been doing this for decades. Go ahead and scan that QR code there and take that 2-minute quiz. Really eye-opening stuff. It will help you. It's not going to hurt. There's no obligation either. If you do the 2-minute quiz, there's no obligation that you have to sign up with Immuni Financial, but we'd love for you to, because there's some great guys. I've got a lot of my financial investments with Immuni, and they've done me right for, probably about 10 years now. Or you can visit them on the web at immuni.com/retire.
Shout out to Imuni. Also, Drillman32 has gifted one Pewter Report membership.
Awesome.
So thank you very much for doing that. Appreciate your kindness.
Yeah.
Probably also a good time to give a shout out to our Pewter Platinum members, which we do on every single show. We appreciate each and every one of you for your support of Pewter Report and Pewter Report TV. So thank you to Scott Federico, Scotty J, Rayful Gordon, Noah Parr, Dave Anderson, Eric McMillan, Hezo813, Ash Fishpool, Joel L. Rican, Sam, John Dale Morris, Zach Brannikin, RP89, Connor 4 Reels, Kevin Thomas, Mario Thomas, Leighton Carter, Brandon Riley, The Guy is Gifted, Alec Bickler, Nick Dubuque, Dominic Tarantino, HK Bucks, The Real Maverick, Brayon Pinkney, Brian Shucker, Black Gold 1999, Steven Zool, King James 813, Brian Green, Henry Higante, and also got to give a shout out to Todd Pittner, who's made a nice donation to Pewter Report as well.
Yes, thank you, Todd.
Pewter Platinum member. So thank you so much to everyone for your support of PewterReport.com and Pewter Report TV. We will have a Pewter Insider returning on Friday at 1:30. That's where you get some more inside info about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to be talking about the Bucs defense. Can the Bucs defense stay hot after the bye week? And on Thursday's show, the day before, we will be talking about the Bucs offense and how they must get back on track after two kind of below average performances. And then Wednesday, so no show tomorrow on Tuesday. Wednesday, unless the Bucs make a trade, then we'll have an emergency podcast.
That's right.
But on Wednesday, it's going to be our Bucs versus Patriots preview, breaking down some of the matchups and how the Bucs can win this very, very important game.
That's right.
And Shaggy, with a good reminder to everybody, please hit that like button. And if you're not already doing so, please make sure you're following Pewter Report on all of our social media channels. On X, Facebook, and Instagram, we are at Pewter Report. And our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video. Tell us how you felt about our interview with Jon Gruden, or how you feel about the Bucs coming out of the bye week and this big matchup against the Patriots coming up on Sunday, a home game for your Bucs. But that's going to do it for us today. It's been a fun one. So, we're going to get on out of here. For Jon Gruden, for Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you on Wednesday for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.